Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be part 4 of the Frontline restoration. I need to get these parts right here sanded down. The two sides we already did on part 3, and we started prepping these ones. Let me grab this front piece. So we got to sand down this front piece, the back door, and all this stuff because I want to put primer on this stuff tonight. I ordered the stencil material. That should be here Wednesday or Thursday, I think. So hopefully I'll get the stencils cut this week so that we can get this cabinet painted, start putting it back together. And then once this is done, we're gonna do alpine ski next. And we're gonna be doing 2 alpine skis at the same time. One for me and one for the guy that owns the Frontline. After that, we're gonna be building 2 brand new Tato cabinets out of 3/4 inch black melamine, okay? One of them is going to be turned into a Tetris, and the other one is going to be, can't think of the name of it offhand. But anyways, he wants the other 2 games to be in Tato cabinets. He likes the design of the Tato cabinets. So we'll do that. So I'll basically be able to build the 2 Tato cabinets, give you guys all the measurements and everything. So if you need anything, I can write it all down on a piece of paper and I'll put it in the video so you guys can actually see it. I can also screenshot it and put that like in the description or whatever, or you know, I'll figure out a way to do that. But I'll put all the measurements and everything. I believe you can get the side profile on arcadecabinetplans.com. I have a side profile that I made out of 1/4 inch Luan from a real cabinet. So I actually traced a real cabinet a while ago and have the right profile for that. These are actually pretty easy cabinets to make. Not really that much to them, but we'll just go from there. So I had left this off as this piece of metal I had taped on here because it was missing a hunk of particle board for this back door. So we can actually peel this off. It's been on here for however long it's been since I made the last video. But we just peel this off. This should come off. Now we can sand this down. Then I got to put a little Bondo on a few spots, chips and stuff like that. I got to put a little bit of Bondo on the front. Not too much to do. There's a little bit of work to do on the top still. So, I mean, I got some stuff to do. So I'm just going to do a bunch of sanding here. We'll just kind of fast forward through it, get it all sanded down, do a little bit of Bondo work and stuff like that, and get these things completely ready so we can get them primered tonight, let them set for the week. If I have to do a second primering on them, I will. We'll see what happens. It's only Monday, so hopefully everything works out. Yeah, either way, I mean, as long as the stencil material shows up. I order it from Sign Warehouse. It's 36 inch wide material. You can order stencil material on Amazon, but they don't sell 36 inch wide. Now this cabinet is 30 inches deep, okay? And you can get 30 inch stencil material. The problem is you have to have room on each side. So you have to go with a 36 inch wide because when you run it through the cutter, if you try to cut a line, you know, a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch from the edge of a 30 inch piece, you're going to have issues. It's going to screw up. It's going to start running crooked or something like that. So you got to have that extra material in there. But you can, on Sign Warehouse, I ordered 2 36 inch rolls, 10 yards long. That's enough to do probably 4 cabinets. That's enough to do 4 cabinets of artwork. I only need 3. I need 1 for the Frontline, 2 of them for alpine ski, and the other 2 cabinets we're going to put Tetris artwork on the one, and I cannot think, jump and rope and jump, I forget what, rope and jump or jump and rope, whatever it's called. That's going to be the other cabinet. So those 2 we're just going to put that style artwork on it. We're not going to put the Tato stencils on the sides of those 2. So yeah, so basically I ordered 2 10-yard rolls, which came out to like $118 shipped. Or if I'd have bought a 50-yard roll, that would have costed over $200 shipped. And I don't know when I'll ever need more stencils. I don't have any in the near future that I would need. Anything that I have stencil wise for like burger time and stuff like that, I already have all that stuff cut, so I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So all right, let me get set up here. We'll knock this down, put a little filler on it, and we're just going to kind of jam through this and get this stuff in primer so it can start drying. Okay, like I always do, I took my grinder and I ground down around these holes where the lock bars used to be, the lock bar bolts, because we need to fill those in with some short strand fiberglass. And I'm just going to put some tape on the backside to keep the fiberglass material from popping through. Then I'll let this dry for about 15 minutes, and then we will sand these two areas down. And then at that point, I'll be ready to put Bondo on the areas that need it. So we really don't have too much more body work to do. So hopefully it won't take me too much longer. Now remember, like I always do, you gotta really push this into the hole and fill the hole completely up with this stuff. So you wanna shove it down in there, just keep pushing it in. And you'll know when it's in all the way, because what will happen is you'll get a bubble up in the air like that. That means your hole is filled in all the way. If you don't do that, you'll have a void in there, and it could shrink back over time. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry, and then we'll sand these two spots down, and then we're just gonna mix up body filler and hit all the spots. Actually, there's a little chunk missing out of the corner of this door down here. I mean, it's pretty minimal, but I have a little bit of fiberglass left, so why not use it? And that's a little bit of a deep void there. Might as well use what I have mixed up rather than throwing it away. Deep scratch over here. I'm gonna put some of that in here. Pull it tight. Yeah, if you have areas to use it up on, use it. Don't waste it. All right, I'll let that set up and I'll be back. Okay, I just went ahead and sanded that down real quick. But now I'm gonna mix up some filler. We're gonna do the final filler on these parts. And then I just need to sand them one more time and we'll be ready to primer. Now I'm using a little bit of Bondo and my fantastic glazing filler from O'Reilly Auto Parts. So I kind of mixed them together. just to give it a little bit of a smoother. The Bondo itself is thicker. The glazing filler is really thin. So I'm kind of making a mixture in the middle of the two. This will help you get less pinholes, and also it won't be super thin if I just use glazing filler, and it also won't be super thick if I just use the Bondo. So it's kind of just in the middle, because there's a couple gouges that are a little bit bigger, and I'd rather just do this in one coat and be done with it. Remember, on your edges, draw the material into the center. Don't wipe it this way. Wipe it this way into the panel. That's going to build your edge up. Going the other way is just going to round it over, and it's not really going to fill that edge like it should. Now these edges, we have to sand the edges by hand, and then the top flat surface we can use the DA sander on. I know this is the back door. Still got to have it look somewhat nice. I don't know, I look at it as I'm touching up spots anyways because there was holes from where they had lock bar. Why not just do a decent job on all of it and be done with it? Same thing with the top. I look at it this way on the top. If your cabinet's really smooth, these games collect a lot of dust. And it's a lot easier to wipe off the top of a smooth cabinet than a rough one. All right, and we'll let this set up, and we'll come back, knock it down with some sandpaper. And at that point, I'll have to move some stuff around, and we will get this stuff sanded or primered up. Okay, I'm gonna hit all the edges with the block sander. It's still a hair tacky. By the time I get done with the block sander, it'll be ready to DA the flat surfaces. And then at that point, I gotta run the router on part of that piece, the upper piece right there, where the T-molding holds the marquee in, because I filled some of it in with fiberglass. And then after that, I am ready to get set up so that we can get some primer. I'll show you the primers I use, like I always do, in case there's anybody new to the channel that hasn't watched. They don't have to ask questions and be like, oh, what kind of primer are you using, this and that. At least they'll see it and know, what to use, or if they want to try it or whatever. So, all right, let me go ahead and we'll get this sanded down, and then after that, I'm going to get everything blown off, and we're going to get it set up and spray primer. Okay, I forgot to fill in a couple little chips on that front edge, and then there's a couple spots on the top I'm not happy with. I'm gonna mix up a little filler, put them in those couple spots, sand those off camera. When I come back, we will be in the spray booth getting ready to put the primer on. Also, if you noticed, once I sand this all down, I take the block sander on a 45-degree angle and I just run it a couple times on all the edges. And what that does is it gives it a slight bevel. When you give this particle board a slight bevel, it's less likely to chip on you in the future. So by doing that, you lessen the risk of it chipping on you later on down the road. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this wrapped up and I'll see you in the spray booth. Okay, I went ahead and put 2 more coats on off camera, so they all have 3 coats of primer now. The only piece that looks like shit right now is the top of the cabinet, but I put 4 coats of primer on here, so once that dries and I sand it down, it should be pretty damn good. Now I still have to do a little bit of body work to the other side of the sides of the cabinet, where the monitor hole is on this part. On the inside, I have to do some primering in there because that also has to look good, because you see that when the cabinet is put together. So that's pretty much going to end part 4. I got to work on this back piece too, that fell off. So I have to do a little body work to it. But I'll get that when I do the work to the other side of those sides right there. So basically that is the end of part 4. All the main body work is now done to the cabinet, for Frontline only, obviously. So I'm gonna let it set for a few days while I work on some other stuff, and then once the stencils come, I'll be able to get everything ready so that we can get it painted. I'm hoping this weekend to get this thing painted and maybe even put together looking like a cabinet again. Remember, we mixed up the 2 paints right here, so those are ready to go. So that's going to end this episode, guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.